I learned, I don't know, a bunch of different things, right? I think one of the key things I learned is every owner does things completely different. So even in the franchise space where our
Yeah.
operating system is the same, like same tools, same
Same
process,
product.
workflows, same product, the way that one business operates versus another is night and day. And what I found through that is the business I bought was a pretty sound business. They had great processes. They did what needed to be done, and they ran a profitable business. And we knew buying the fifth store that it was, the sales were there. It wasn't very profitable. We knew it wasn't ran very well. And we thought with the experience and knowledge that my team had, that we could integrate that next store. And that ended up being true, but it took a lot longer, a lot more resources than we thought. And so understanding the dynamic of each of these buildings, from whether it's the people or their workflows and their processes, is one thing. And then having a plan like to integrate, like you got to prioritize what's important to get integrated into the system. You can't do it all at once. And I think that is one of the big things just from that first purchase after, the very first one, that we learned. Was like, man, this can't all happen at once. So we got to go through and what are the important things that we need to align on and ensure that we get synergy as quickly as possible. And one obviously was communication. Communication was big. Like the business I bought had a lot of channels for communication, a lot of knowledge sharing, a lot of reliance on one another. And that was the beauty, as a business owner, you want that team to work together and rely on each other and go to each other in order for me to kind of pull back and be in that strategic space. And they did a really good job of that, but it's like going to the next store, there was no communications. The owner just owned everything, and their employees were, I won't say inept, but they had no idea. They had no problem solving skills. They had nowhere to turn. They had really no resources. And so for us, the first thing that we had to do was create a framework on how are we going to support this team now that the person with all the knowledge is out of the business. And that was a tough one because it's they really didn't know where to turn. Where putting one of my employees in there, they would know exactly what needed to be done because they were responsible and accountable for all of it and had the support. Where in that situation, there was just no support. They were just there to ring up tickets.